I mean, speaking of pushing the food in Butler in a certain direction, Butler Penne.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come up, and how did that happen?
That was us sitting on the back porch. Before I opened the shop, I was surviving doing catering on my own.
Okay.
I had
I
turned.
know that's cool.
Yeah, I'd turned my garage at my old house into a commercial kitchen, and I was doing catering jobs out of it. So I got hooked up with Iron Mountain in Boyers with the Office of Personnel Management one time, and they had 3 cafeterias inside the mine for all of the employees that worked there, so they could get lunch if they needed to or wanted to. So I got hooked up with the Office of Personnel Management, and I would go up there one day a week, and I would do lunch in one of their dining rooms. So what I ended up doing, you couldn't have any open flames in the mine. Everything had to be cooked on electric. Couldn't have a chafing dish that wasn't electric, anything. So I was, again, thinking, like, how do I do this differently? And really, it doesn't come across like cafeteria food, you know?
Sure.
So I started doing made-to-order pastas like we do at Butler Penne on little residential electric hot plates. And it was same setup. I would have all the ingredients out, marinara, Alfredo. I would always take a sandwich special that I could cook on a little electric panini press there, a couple soups and a salad. And 2 of us would go up, and I would cook all the pastas and the sandwich, and the other person would handle getting the soups, the salads, and cashing people out. And that's what we did for from it was 2009 or 2008 until I opened the shop in 2011.
That was your main source of income at that point,
Every
then?
Friday I would go up and do that. So we got the shop open, and I stopped doing that because I wasn't able to go up to the mine. As we were talking about what was next, and I said, there were 2 other types of restaurants that I wanted to kind of experiment with. One was I wanted to do traditional Southern style smoked barbecue. I wanted to do a take on like street taco kind of stuff. And so we were talking about it, and I said, why wouldn't we just take the pasta concept and turn it into a fast casual restaurant? Because all the bugs are already worked out. I've done this for 3 years. Like, all I need is a space.
Right.
And so that's how that ended up kind of coming about and getting started, was because on the operations side of things, all the bugs were already worked out. It was just find a space, and then that's when I learned that about changing the use of a space. That held us up for years trying to get all of that together.
Because the current Butler Penne venue was not.
It was an office.
It was
prior
an office.
to,
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an office prior to being Butler Penne. So that held me up for a long time because it was a completely different experience trying to get that started than it was the chop shop. And I was expecting them to be pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was that delayed us. Well, we lost a year trying to figure out a hood and fire suppression system that ultimately we ended up not needing because we were using induction burners.
Oh, no. The things you learn, though, right?
Right, right.
Man, if you were to open a restaurant at this point, then would you rather just like build your own place? Like, is it that much of a hassle to change an office building into a restaurant, to where you just say, forget it, let's just build our own building?
At this point, depending on what I would do, it just depends. Like, if I found a really cool building that I thought looked like it needed to be something, then you make it what it needs to be.
Yeah.
But if I was going to move, say, Butler Penne, I would probably look to move it to like a strip mall or a small standalone building in a shopping center, just because I think that concept is probably well suited for that.
Mm-hmm.
But to take the chop shop and try and open it again, I don't think that you could do it in a building that you just built yourself, because a lot of the character of that place comes from the building.
Sure.
I've had people ask me about that before, and I said, if I went to a design professional and a contractor and just explained to them how the chop shop looked, they would basically build me Quaker steak and lube, right?
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But they don't have the same character and the same vibe when you walk in. You know, I'd get all the reproduction signs that were easy to find.
That's right.
You know, everything in the shop kind of tells a story of where it came from, whether I found it somewhere, whether I've had somebody that's been coming in there for years that uncovered something in a barn that was like, hey, I know where this belongs. And then they come in the next time they eat and they say, I found this. Can you use it for anything? And then it turns into a light fixture.
Right.
You know,
well, I mean, just from being in the shop, like you guys have done a great job of mixing like Americana with music with your signage. It does have this seamless feel to it where you don't step in and you're like, well, this doesn't make sense. But like, it's a bunch of different things, but it makes sense.
It does. And that was all by accident. It was just all by accident. They were all things I was interested in, and to me they made sense, but I didn't ever think about it from somebody else's point of view coming in. Would it make sense to them? I do now. Like I'm conscious of that after talking with people, and that your concept really does need to make sense on all of those different levels, and be kind of consistent through it. You know, you're not gonna open a brewery and serve, you know, Asian fusion food and listen to classical music, right?
Right.
You know, that wouldn't make sense. It would be very, very confusing to somebody to come in and be like, where am I? But I did not realize any of that when I put the shop together.